How to really, really like who you're being as a man. And while I typed up this title, this topic, I have three particular areas in mind of where is my edge of practice? How is a man really excited about who he is every single day? What helps you be excited when you get up? Whether it's at three in the morning like me this morning, and I wasn't ready to go back to sleep. Body didn't want to go back to sleep. So I just got up and went to the gym. That was my edge of practice at 3:30 or 4 o'clock this morning. Had plenty of time to read, plenty of time to lift weights, listen to an audiobook on the treadmill. So my edge of practice this morning was growth within who I am, my intellectual growth, my physical growth, and growth within just acceptance of the moment that my body wasn't ready to go back to sleep. So in that moment, my edge was, okay, I'm going to get up instead of just laying here for another hour. I'm going to go ahead and get up, start my morning routine, read a few pages of a book, hit the gym, and feel good about myself. Now, I did come home and crash for a couple of hours. So my edge of practice right there was some security. I wanted security within my own life for today, within my work life. Security that I knew I could show up for calls for men, for clients, for gentlemen that are in pain or that have questions. So our edge of practice to be really like who we're being as a man. James Dean says, dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today. And while that's easy to say, dream as though you'll live forever, but to live as if you'll die today, that espouses what we believe in here within our man-to-man calls, within Great Men Move Mountains, is to live with freedom and passion every day, the freedom to live confident within yourself no matter what, and how to make the most important promises to yourself. So to really like who you're being as a man takes growth. It takes growth of knowing your edge. And do I want more security in my life or in my relationship? Do I want more fun in my life personally or in my relationship? And do I want more growth personally within my own self, within my life, or within my relationship? So those of you that are here right now, punch into the chat a 1, 2, or 3. Which of these areas is a challenge for you personally as a man? So the opposite of security would be insecurity, insecurity in who I believe myself to be, insecurity in my path. Maybe it's a lack of financial security. So that would be number 1. 2 is fun. Am I in touch with friends of where I like to explore? Do I have something on the calendar for my own self to get away for a weekend or to get away with other guys someplace in the state or someplace in the country? Fun for my own self, or have I lost that? And growth within what's my existential philosophy? What's my view on life? What do I believe is the purpose of this day or any one day or my whole life? Do I want to grow in a spiritual connection? Do I want to grow within understanding of my own self? Do I want to learn something and grow in that way? So which one of these three areas is the biggest challenge for you, would you say? Punch it into the chat. 1, 2, or 3. Security, fun, or growth. Yeah, so Josh, coming in, you talked about insecurity in the chat there. Tell us about that. How do you mean I'm very insecure? Please go for it.
Well, I don't feel very secure in my marriage where I sit with my wife. So it kind of just, I guess, affects a lot of my life, really. I'm afraid to put myself out there because I'm afraid of getting rejected. Insecure about that. Like one weekend, I had nothing to do, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go meet some people and I'll just go to a bar and just talk. And I was too chicken shit, so I just went to a fast food place and came home.
Sure. So I've been there, by the way. So what was on your mind when you were about to go to the bar? Like what was the fear?
Uh, I got pretty bad social anxiety, and it probably has something to do with my PTSD too. Just scared of the unknown. I suppose nothing would have ever happened. It's just I have been out before, and I usually just sit down in a corner somewhere, and then I get real bored, and then I leave.
Yeah. Have you ever actually gone up and talked with someone or put some quarters on the pool table to play the next round of pool or just sat at the bar and like talked with the bartender or the people right around you, anything like that?
Maybe when in my early 20s, when I was in the army and out with my buddies, but not like anything by myself.
Sure. So if I gave you the challenge of to go find a place that had billiards, right, to shoot pool, and you had to put a dollar's worth of quarters or something on the rail there and say, "Hey guys, I'm out by myself tonight. I'd love to play some pool with y'all. Is that cool with you?" Where would you go?
There's a few places in town I think that have pool. It's like there's like a bowling alley and bar kind of place for adults.
Right on. Yeah. So is that something that you want to do, or it's just a good idea? Because there's a difference. Go ahead.
No, that's not me, really.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
I'd
what?
rather,
So that's
I'd
cool. So
rather,
what is something that is you that you'd want to go out and experience?
to be honest, I'm more of a homebody, honestly.
Sure. So circle, I get it. So circle me back to what you want to be more secure within, though. Is that meeting people? Is that going
I
out?
guess more confidence in myself.
Yeah. If you had a
I
vision of you, go ahead.
I just think I lack confidence, especially when it comes to my wife, because I feel like I walk around on eggshells whenever I'm around her, and I feel like super stressed out, like if I do or say something wrong, or I cross a line that I don't know about, and then she ends up being like, Why'd you do that?" or something like,
Yeah,
because
it's kind of like if I tried to read your mind, I'm probably going to be wrong a lot of the time. And if I based my life off of and my value, my worth as a person off of how accurate I am at reading Josh's mind, I'm going to be
yeah.
stressed. Yeah, it's not going to go very well, right?
So whenever I'm around her, I just try to be my normal self. But then I'm always like, did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? I mean, she still wants to hang out, so I guess.
Yeah, I hear what you say. So let's pause on her for a second and come back
Yeah.
to you, right? So part
Okay.
of confidence is just knowing that you will take the next best step possible.
Uh,
There's no way to know the outcome. There's no way to know if there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. There's no way to know if the guys around the pool table are going to be assholes or not. There's no way to know if it's going to snow like a blizzard here in Colorado today, even though it was springtime over the weekend. There's no way to know those things, but confidence that you will take the next best step possible. So in these three areas, security, fun, growth, again, let's not talk about her for a minute, but just you.
okay.
If you want to have confidence within yourself, like what do you think you're growing in right now? You're doing this work, you're learning about yourself. What else?
Well, I'm doing a lot more stuff that I want to do. I
Okay,
bought
is
a
it
I bought a guitar this past weekend. Um, I'm learning it. I want to learn a new language, so I bought an app that teaches me new things every day,
nice? Yeah,
stuff I normally don't do.
dude, that's awesome. I was going to ask you about fun next, and you just wrapped all that in. Now, no one told you to put quarters on a billiards pool table. You you went out and bought a guitar on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do at least 10 minutes a day. Start off small.
Hey, good for you. Awesome. So you're going to come on here one week and you're going to play for us, right?
Yeah, it might sound awful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if you're willing to come on and play some guitar for us, I don't know. That's right up there with public speaking, I think. People
I'm
are
gonna
terrified.
hopefully serenade some ladies, bring it to the bar.
Well, I hope you don't try to serenade us here. I mean, maybe I should take back my offer to come play guitar with us. Yeah, Josh, that's great. That's good. Yeah, man, absolutely. So the point being, no matter what happens with your wife, you're going to be a man that's deeper. You're going to be a man that's learned about himself, that has these new skills, that has these new adventures, even if it's staying at home, even adventures within your own self or learning guitar.
Yeah, I still think I find myself pretty outcome dependent and doing things to try to win her over.
Yeah, I think you're pretty, from reading your posts and knowing you, Josh, I think you're pretty aware of it. Are you aware of it in the moment?
I think half the time, but I'm trying to like get out more and distract myself so I'm not always just thinking about her because some days it's like I wake up and all I think about is her and how is she doing? Is she eating right? Is she, stuff like that, because I don't talk to her like I used to. I mean, I genuinely care about her well-being, and it's
Yeah.
hard is because like I try to start conversations with her like through text and sometimes she'll just tell me to leave her alone and that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like straight up, leave me alone. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. When you said wanting to connect with her, thinking about her all the time, there are people that I think about quite often that I can't connect with any longer. Like my father passed away a couple of years ago, or my kiddo's 19 and he's living his own life. And, I might get one conversation a week with him, or I could have lunch with him once every couple of weeks, something like that. Or people that I've known in my past who still have a place in my heart, but they're not actively in my life. And
Right.
I may ache to contact one of them or communicate with one of them. And I could speak with Like I could kind of pray to my father or do a meditative practice or journal, think about my father when I'm on a walk, this kind of thing. But
What I've been trying to tell myself is to let her reach out to me, because if I reach out to her, or if she reaches out to me, I can't be rejected, right?
so true. And where we're going is that the word rejected or worrying about being rejected isn't even in the narrative, isn't even in the consideration of the man that you are, the man who you're being. That's where we're going.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks for getting us started, Josh. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you showed up a little bit later, welcome. Love that you guys are here. We're punching into the chat. Which one of these three areas is the most difficult for you, or maybe you're uncertain about as far as the edge of you, the edge of practice? Maybe you feel like you're drifting in one of these areas. Maybe you feel like you're avoiding something in one of these areas. Security may be your career. Fun could be something like learning guitar, like Josh said. And Josh, check out the chat. Yeah, Kent said, go after it. It's badass. So 2 is fun, and number 3 is growth, which could be growth, be learning about yourself. It could be attachments with your parents, for instance. Maybe you haven't talked with your mother or your father for a long time, or a family member, and they're kind of estranged, and you want to grow something new with them. Where's an edge of practice for you? Yeah, Stefan, come on in. Talk with us about growth. How do you mean? How's that an edge for you?
Um, I guess it's just, what was the first one? Money, I'm okay. So no complaints there. Fun, I believe the last 2 years I've reconnected with things I enjoy. So much like Josh was saying, not guitar. I've had a guitar for years, but always sucked at it. But I enjoy electronic music. So
Sure.
I started doing that again. Um, yeah, I think growth is what's missing because I've been separated for a year and a half now. Things are okay, but I feel like I'm just sort of on pause. When initially the bomb hit, it was very much looking to myself, what happened, what can I change, why did I get here? And then I just got tired of that. I needed a break of like just trying to improve and then just have fun.
Yeah.
So now that's where I am.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's smart to take some time for yourself to, you don't have to read books every single day, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do
exactly.
you, yeah. So how do you mean by growth? Do you have a hunch at what that means for you?
um, I guess it was the best of the three. I don't know what I'm looking for specifically. Um, I think right now, like my focus is to be okay with where I am and to like feel like that 100 or 95% of the time, not 75.
Hmm.
So most days things are good, but there's ups and downs. So
Where's that last 20% going to come from, do you think?
um I think I'm still hanging on to my ex. We're very close. She considers us friends. So I'm supposed to have lunch with her tomorrow, but I know that for her it's friends.
Hmm.
And I'm not quite ready to just close the door completely. Um, I think part of the growth would be to finally accept a failure. The whole separation for me was I failed. I broke my family. So accepting that and knowing that I did what I could, and that's just not how the cards played out, and to do the best I can moving on.
Yeah, that's super painful. I've been in that spot. It was about 8 years ago now, Stefan, right? Uh, I'm not here to try to tell you anything to console you necessarily. You sounds like you've been on this journey for your own self. You're a smart guy. You have perspective. When you see her, so are you still living in the same place? No.
No, no.
Okay. And so when you see her, it sounds like you have what I call an emotional hangover. Like you're kind of pulled off center. You feel unsure about yourself or guilty, or you maybe spin out for a couple of days. Anything like that?
The cycle's been pretty much we get very close, and I'm like, okay, you got to take a step back, and then we both kind of take a step back, and then she'll reach out again. Obviously, we have 3 kids, right? So we're doing 5, 5, 2, 2. So there's an exchange twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we do see each other pretty often. I guess like lately, Christmas wasn't that long ago. That was hard because her family's out of town, mine's out of town. It was very much the first Christmas that she had her own house and we were 100% separated.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird. And then she had an emergency where she had to call me at 3 a.m. To go to the hospital. So I went to her place because she had the kids. So the familiar taking care of her, don't worry, I've got, like I can take care of everything else. That kind of confused me a little bit. And then now we're here. So Easter's coming up, and then, it's just these familiar family things, taking care of her, making sure she's okay. And I think from her perspective, I don't think she's seeing anyone. I'm not seeing anyone. I just figured if I'm going to be single, I'm just going to enjoy it as long as I can. Because it's been since I was 18, so about 25 years that it was relationship after the other. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm financially stable. So why not enjoy and do what I want, right? What was I getting with that? For her, I lost my train of
It's
thought.
okay. That's good. When you said you get close,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Just like texting a lot back and forth. How's it going? And usually it's more her that reaches out just because I'm trying to give her that space. And like I saw Josh's post on Facebook the other day where he was saying like that he generally wants to know that she's okay. And I love the analogy that you used about like your father that passed away. It's like, yeah, you'd love to reach out, still love him, but you just can't do it, right? Um, so I give her space like that, but there's times like I'm just doing my business and I'll get a text, hey, hope you had a great day. And it's like, why? Like, it's
Yeah.
just hard to let go when there's always that little hint of maybe, I guess Steve calls it a bid for connection, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty obvious that it is, but I think for women, they can do the friendship thing, and men, we can't really, especially with an ex.
Yeah, we could talk. Can I ask you some more questions about this, Savannah?
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't believe you and I have talked before, so I'm curious. I mean, there's lots of factors for her reaching out, but what's pertinent for you, what's applicable to you, I think, is have you ever said something, and I don't know your story, so pardon me, but have you ever said something like, come over for a glass of wine, like inviting her for something more intimate?
Yeah. Yes. Like tomorrow, we're supposed to go for lunch. It's just the two of us. We had to reschedule. She's very busy with work, and last week was supposed to happen. She rescheduled, and I said, "You look, if you're not into it, it's fine, no worries." She's like, "No, no, no. I was looking forward to it. Let's try next week." So, for me, that was kind of a gauge to see. Let's see how it is over lunch. Try to gauge what the relationship is like. For a long time, I was thinking, what if she's just waiting for a bold move or something? I doubt it. And at the same time, I don't want to do that because I feel like odds are she's not there yet or ever. And two is I don't want to risk the good relationship that we do have. Like, I think it's super beneficial for the kids that we're friendly. We can do stuff as a family once in a while. And I don't want to jeopardize that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. At some point, and again, we just met, but at some point, if I'm you, I'd want to delineate which way this relationship is going to go, like friends, co-parent, or more intimate again, and reconnect,
Right.
potential of reconnecting. You could stay separated with different houses and still connect more intimately. And the vibe I'm getting from the stories that you're telling me, and I've been doing this for a long time, right? So it sounds like you're at a place where, if, for instance, lunch is very friendly, but if I said, hey, come over and watch the sunset with me with a glass of wine, or I might even jokingly say, I want to invite you on a date. I'm not quite sure how to say it. Come over to my place for a glass of wine. It's very straightforward. What you're wanting is to step more toward intimacy. And she
Yeah.
can easily turn that down. She can easily say, no, no, thank you. I'm not ready for that. Now, I don't think that would destroy anything that you currently have. Like, what I think it might destroy is the hope.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I'm feeling. So for you, and I've been in your spot. So for you, either you do something that invites her to step towards you and let go of the hope if she doesn't step towards you, or just go ahead and start experiencing other women. But if you carry that hope, it feels like baggage. It feels like rocks in your backpack. Now, you may not want to experience other women while you're still married, just separated, that kind of thing. You may just want to be single, and that's totally cool. This growth that you're talking about, that's what you're saying. I'm hearing, Stefan, is at some point you'll have to make a decision on either inviting her into something that's delineating, polarizing, Like, hey, I want to invite you on a date. Let's have a glass of wine at the house. That's very straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Or just decide to stay single and kind of be in this phase of life that you're in and just keep the hope in the back of your mind. I was like, that's what it's going to come to.
Sounds painful.
Which part's the most painful?
To just keep carrying those rocks. I don't know. It's hard. Like, even just, I like the idea of saying, come over for a glass of wine and whatnot. But with the three kids, it's hard, right? Like, it would have to be specifically, I want to take you out on a date. I've got a sitter, and if you're open to it, if not, that's okay, right? Like, it's hard to plan something like that when either she has the kids or I do.
That's
So,
fair. And what we're talking about is quite advanced. So I just want everyone to be clear that the vibe I'm getting with Stefan is very, very much down the road. They've been separated. He feels grounded. It sounds like she's interested in him. It doesn't sound like there's any other, guy in the picture or anything. So this is very specific to Stefan's spot. If I were you, I wouldn't try to do the whole blown date with a babysitter thing. I wouldn't try to go out. That's like a big leap. She's going to feel a lot of pressure. You're planning it. It's like all this fucking, but maybe you don't have any family in town, you said, but maybe have a babysitter over to your place, or it's after they go to bed, or you're playing, I don't know, Candyland until 8:30 and it's the kid's bedtime, and you put them both to bed, and then you have a glass of wine and it's just chill. There's not all this pressure. She could just leave if she wants. She doesn't feel like she's putting you out to not show up on a date or something like this. That's what I would do. But to your other point of painful to carry these rocks, you can carry them as long as you want. And this is exactly where you were leading me here, Stefan, of the growth piece. Is it doesn't sound like you're yet ready to put that down one way or the other. So you don't want to risk first saying no, it sounds like.
Yeah. And to be honest, the other part is when she told me she wasn't in love anymore, we tried like 3 sessions with a couples therapist. And it's like, you know what? Like, I'll be honest, I'm not in love either. I love this person. I still want to be with this person. I want to figure out what this shit is. And I've got like, here's 12 bullet points of how we got here. And to me, it's all logical. And here's the steps, right? We had 3 kids, no family, no sex, because we were tired and this just was low on the priority. For me, I was insecure, so rejection wasn't good. So instead of being rejected, then I just stopped trying to connect with her. It's this formula that a lot of us are probably familiar with. God, I keep losing my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Well, so you're back so much going on. It's okay. I love what you said. I'm not in love right now either. I love you, but I'm not
right. Okay.
Right now either.
There you go. See, I just need that little thing to put me back in. So the other thing for me is, like, I can't promise her that give me another chance, things will work this time, right? I can't promise that, we'll reconnect, we'll have sex and everything's amazing. Maybe we're just not made to be together, right? For me, the part that I'm holding on to is I'm not good with subtleties. And when she told me it was over and she tried to like tell me for the last 2 years, it's like, if I didn't know, that's not fair because you were working alone, right? So for me, it's letting go of not having that chance to say we're both going to try and fix this because I believe it's worth it.
Letting go of the chance to say we're both going to try to fix this because I believe it's worth it. I mean, it would be fantastic if both people would say that. It's so rare that during limbo that happens, like never.
Yeah.
And moving past limbo, again, I just met Stefan. Okay. So I'm maybe off, but just let me know. You're way down the road of where a lot of guys start from. How long have you been on this path? A year and a half?
Yeah, I've joined the group June 2021, so almost 2 years.
Okay.
Honestly, like Tuesday, I was there at I guess your noon time. Tuesday, I'm always on client site, and now like I just wasn't today, so that's why we never got a chance. But I've been around.
Okay, cool.
I've been on the calls on Thursdays and Wednesdays for the divorce bomb.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, fantastic. The only time that a couple will come back and say they want to work on it is the phase that I'm insinuating, the phase that I'm talking about with you, is that when there's a spark there again, chemistry potentially again, and you're not trying to promise that the sex is going to be amazing and make everything perfect. You're not trying to promise her, to be happy for the rest of her life. You're not promising bullshit you can't promise anyway, right? And it's a matter of both of you have brought down, how do I want to say this? You have a different philosophy on life than you did 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 15 years ago. And the philosophy on life is most shit is water under the bridge. And I'm going to stop tap dancing my whole life thinking that that's what everybody wants me to do. I'm done tap dancing. I'm, done being judged. If anyone wants to have their opinion of me, they're welcome to it. I'm going to kick ass in my life. I'm going to find my edge of practice within its career and my own fun and my own growth here with the men or the books that I read or the mountain that I climb or the spiritual process that I'm a part of. And I'm not as worried about her. And that's when you're kind of in the spot where you are now. So if you want to stay single, that's cool, but it sounds more like I just don't want to lose hope. So the default is then single, which is fair. Does that feel like it hits the nail on the head?
Close. I guess single, I'm okay with that for now, right? Like I'm just not in a hurry. But I know, like if there's a girl that I find pretty sexy and she gives me attention, that's it. Like, so
that's it. What?
I'll just go after her.
Like you can't control it, you mean? Or how do you mean?
I can probably control it, but I mean historically, like the stupid joke of what's your type of woman, a woman that says yes. Like if
she
I get
falls mirror, she's breathing. Yeah.
Well, it's just, if someone likes me, it's like cool. Like, hopefully I've changed. And the last time I was single was 20 years ago. So maybe I've grown there. But before it was like opportunities weren't so often that I wasn't that selective, I believe.
Sure. Okay. So we're really finding your edge. And I'll just make this one last and then we'll bounce forward, Stefan, if you don't mind. If I were to draw horizontal lines on a piece of paper, let's say 4 horizontal lines, so it makes 5 sections on the piece of paper. And this is for everybody to do. This is cool. So on the very bottom section, it's what would a woman need to have, or what would I need to feel or see in a woman for me to have a 2-minute conversation with her? So she can fog a mirror. She's like, maybe she doesn't even need to be attractive because you're just practicing having a 2-minute conversation, but maybe smile at you, maybe not. Maybe just be in the vicinity and you kind of get a vibe from her. So that's the bottom rung. What would she need to have or exude for me to want to have a 2-minute conversation? Then for me to ask her out on a date, what would need to happen? Like she laughs at my dumb jokes within those 2 minutes. She can hold a conversation. She has more than one word answers or something. And then what would I want to do to ask her on a second date? If you have a first date, ask her on a second date, ask her on a third date, and then more than a third date would be the final category. And I want you to do this as homework because your feet have not hit the ground thinking about other women. And that's okay. It's just where you are. And so this like, oh, anybody that gives me attention, holy shit, you're like open to rebound city. Like not good.
Yeah.
As first woman that touches my penis, which by the way, every one of us here is incredibly valuable. The age we are, the wisdom that we are, what you're learning through this process. And 2 years doing this work, Stefan, you're probably super grounded, know who you are, like way different than 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. So your value has tremendously gone up, and every man here will be shocked at how high of a commodity you are if you do this work for generally a year or two, in a healthy way. And then you slowly doing some things that I just described, like know what you want in a woman, you get to start choosing the experiences you want to have. You get to have as many intimate sexual experiences as you want. You get to, I promise you, I've seen this like hundreds of times at this point. So that's not going to be a problem. And if you haven't even done that thought, or if it's like, well, the first woman who, like, okay, and with love, that shows me that you haven't really even seriously considered that. And that will help you have more confidence. That will help you grow. That will help you with this question of when do I want to invite her to a glass of wine, or when do I want to put the rock down? It doesn't need to be now, but that's the next phase.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Thanks.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for exploring. Right. That was fun. Appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to meet you. So we've got about 10 minutes left on this call tonight. I want to open it up. Who wants to come in or has a question, or what Stefan or Josh was saying has sparked something within you? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Coming in, please.
I'll jump in.
Yeah, Julio, please.
Yeah, for me, something that I feel like I'm lacking. I think each of those seem to cross over or overlap somehow, but it's the security. There's times where I'm like feeling grounded, and then times where I don't, or she'll say something like, she doesn't want to be with me, or she's not. I'm not. Just saying like things like that. I'm not good enough. Pretty much, she doesn't want to be with me. I didn't take care of her the way I did. And every time she says that, there's a little insecurity where that little monkey voice will start saying that I'm not good enough. And I think I still need to work on that. And I think I'm lacking on that because that sometimes will take control. And it takes me a while to just get myself back grounded and not really believe that. So yeah, that's something I've been working on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I hear. And you said when she says you're not good enough for her, is that what you said?
Yeah, or she'll say comments like, I don't want to be with you, or I didn't make enough money, or she'll start comparing me with other guys that have more than what we had, stuff like that, which is pretty stupid, but even then it's kind of sometimes it'll get to like, damn, I'm not good enough for what? Like, is this? And then that'll start overlapping to like, am I never gonna be good enough? And it'll just keep on going, and it's like,
yeah, totally.
It just turns into a big old emotional roller coaster for a good while, and it just takes me a while to get back grounded and kind of process those emotions. Yesterday it took me a while to kind of. She said that to me yesterday, and it took me a while to kind of process through that. I feel good now, and I was able to kind of just. And this was a phone conversation. I was able to just kind of control myself for that conversation, and once we hung up, I was able to process all of that, and it just took me. This time it took me a lot longer than usual to kind of get myself grounded, and that one took a while.
Yeah, thanks for opening this to me. That sounds painful. So let me ask. I want to shoot a couple of things out here. Is she kind of joking when she says it, like you didn't make enough money for me, and it's sassy, or she's
no, she's serious.
Oh, she's really digging.
Yeah, she'll dig like and I'm like, hey, this will come out of nowhere. This sometimes we'll talk about like finances, and I'll give her money for the kids, stuff like that, and sometimes she'll say things that I'm still not supporting enough, and and I'm trying, and I don't want to be a doormat either, so I kind of have set my boundaries down, but she'll say things like that, and and for a good while, I mean, we're actually conversating pretty well, that we didn't get into fights, and I had a little pep in my walk, and I was feeling good until just yesterday. And I don't know, that may be just kind of a step backwards.
For you and your view of
for me through this journey, and kind of realizing like, hey, I'm gonna have those setbacks every now and then, but she'll say she said that yesterday, and sometimes I don't know if it's like there's been times where like I've actually just been working on myself. And like I said, I've have like a little pep in my walk every now and then. I feel good now. Just working on myself, focusing on myself. And I don't know if it's because of that she'll say things like that to get a reaction out of me, or if she's just mad because I don't know.
Well, it's
I don't
either.
know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's either just nasty for the sake of being nasty, like she's in a bad mood, so she's going to try to make, or it's manipulative, like she wants more money from you, trying to kind of, shame you into giving her more money, or it's the crabs in the bucket, right? Pulling the other crabs down in the bucket if she doesn't feel as good about herself, or she doesn't want your resources to go away potentially. She doesn't want your attention to go away necessarily. Tell me if I were you and I was in that spot and we're having a serious conversation and she's, man, you didn't make enough money in the past. And she said this many times. And I said, hey, Barbie, I'm just going to imagine her name's Barbie. I don't remember her name. Gotcha. So, hey, Barbie, I'm really not interested in your judgments about my income any longer, to be honest. Like,
say that one more time.
Hey, Barbie, to be honest, and this is a serious conversation. She's not being sassy. It's like, see, and how much are the kids' soccer pads going to be? And this is how much their swimming lessons are going to be. And this is what my fucking hair style, her hair do is going to cost. And I'm like, yeah, okay, da da da. And she's, you just never made enough money for me, broke ass, whatever. Like,
Hmm.
Barbie, I'm really not interested in your judgment around my income any longer, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not interested in the jabs about my income. You can just kind of save those.
Yeah, I like that. It feels more yeah, grounded it a little bit more. That's the line. Like, hey, I don't want to hear it. That's it.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
the underlying current of this is I'm no longer interested in her judgment of me or her judgment of that thing. And I'm only saying this because it's a serious conversation and she's hammered it a whole bunch of times. Like, I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sure you're sick of hearing it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. So standing up for yourself in a calibrated, kingly, grounded, compassionate as possible way is something like I said. I mean, you would use your words, but you would my goal is to say it before you get pissed off or before you're
Mm.
collapsed. Usually we go longer and longer and longer without saying anything and we get angry and either we like
Right.
collapse in on ourselves or we lash out in anger.
Yeah.
Collapse or anger. And the goal is to learn this is for everybody. The goal is to learn our values and our boundaries and to speak up for ourselves before we get so far down the road that we're like collapsing or pissed off. That's the goal. But often we don't even know we have a boundary until we're already pissed off. This is me. So I have to walk it back. Like, okay, 5 steps ago, where would I have liked to have stood up for myself? Or 5 steps ago, where did I kind of violate my own integrity and I didn't even know it? Like there was a post on actually mentoring men today about a man being kind of emotionally blackmailed by his adult children. He had 18-year-old and a 20-year-old, and they're divorced now. And the mom is playing the kids against the dad. And the kids are like emotionally blackmailing the dad to try to get more money, saying he's not giving enough and he abandoned their mom. Like they're really playing him manipulatively. Right. And I responded there. If any of you guys are on Mentoring Men, you could see it today. I responded that I'm not going to be emotionally blackmailed for anything really, and certainly not by my children for money. Because how much of a horrible precedent would that set to allow them to do that? Well, it's similar if the wife is saying these nasty things. It's similar. It's I wouldn't say to my child, you know what, I'm just sick of hearing that. I wouldn't say it the same way as I would to Barbie. It's they're our child and it's different. But with a woman who's shooting like stingers at you over and over and over, at what point are we getting more angry? Or you're describing being collapsed about it. Man, I thought it was cool. I thought it was good. And then now I feel shitty. That's the collapsing.
Right.
And so that's why if I'm you, at some point, when she says it again, I would just breathe and say, you know what, Barbie, I am not interested in your shots at my income any longer, to be honest with you. Now, she's probably not just going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Julio. Apologies. I won't ever do it again. Can I make you a birthday cake? It's probably not going to go like that. She's probably going to have some other kind of comeback or some over the top. And that's okay. That's okay. Welcome the next bridge. I call it the next bridge to cross. The first bridge in that instance is, I'm not so interested in you ragging on my income any longer. Like you can just save that opinion. Thanks. She's probably gonna be like, oh, what? How dare you talk to me like that? Or whatever or you deserve it, or whatever the over the top is. And I would just let her run out of steam. Like I'd probably hold the phone a little away from my face like that, to be honest. Blah, 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 blah. Like, hey, you're totally welcome to your opinion. And then I would just move on. Like, is there anything else we need to talk about with the kids? Or, hey, I'll see you on Thursday to pick up the kids. I would just not even acknowledge the second wave of bullshit, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes I like that. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And it could go from there. There's always one bridge after another. But the point being, where's the point where either I'm taking this in on myself because I'm not standing up for my own value. I'm not standing up as a man in what I believe to be right. Either because I don't know I've crossed a line or I don't have the skill, like I don't know what to do or what to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're working on it here. And either I collapse, like I'm going to believe less and less in myself if I don't stand up, or it's like, or just seething resentment builds until something not good happens. Like, we blow up in front of our kids or we do something stupid. This kind of thing. So I'd rather all of us stand up for ourselves in like a chill way. Like, hey, I can appreciate that, but I'm just not interested in hearing that anymore. Imagine you had a good buddy that came over for poker night and he kept stepping on his own, dick. At some point you'd be like, hey, we just don't need to hear that anymore. I would hope that everyone has the gall to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Can you remember a time when you stood up for a boundary like that, just simple with a friend even?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I would say just somebody who I would say I did have a friend who I'm a pretty small, skinny guy, and I mean this has nothing to do with relationship, but I mean he tried bullying me, trying to belittle me, and I kind of had to stood my ground. And I told him to stop. And yeah, I told him, hey, I don't like that. I don't like the way you're talking to me, and you need to stop doing that, dude. And that felt good, and he did. Like I just stood my ground. So that I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in spots like that too. And I don't know if you were thinking about it, but it's almost like I'm willing to take a punch in the face over this if I have to.
Well, yeah, I was ready to fight.
Yeah, right? See, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So with a woman, obviously you're not going to do anything physical, but with a woman,
Right.
it's I'm willing to take your emotional like spaz to
Hmm.
stand in order to stand. I mean, think about
Yeah.
that. Think about, okay, would I rather have a big dude just clock me in the face, or would I rather her just like blah 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 on the phone? I mean, looking at it that way, it's not so dangerous. But the point is, I'm willing to stand up for this, and I'm willing to risk her not being happy with me about it. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's something I need to work on too. Like, there's a little bit of myself still holding on to that old relationship, and every now and then that I have to like kind of stop, and I tend to romanticize our memories and our past, and then I'm still having issues trying to just let go of that because that tends to be rocks in my backpack too. So that I guess that I don't know where that would lie or be within those three categories, but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I would say, well, that's normal. I don't think
Okay.
that's unhealthy. I mean, you were together for a long time. She'll always have a place in your heart, as I was saying earlier. Romanticizing the past, though, is simply a narrative that you can choose to switch at any time. Like if I said, I don't know anything about Barbie. If I said, you know what, she actually was not good enough for you. You know what? I don't think that she was, I could keep going. I don't think
Hmm.
she was good enough for you. And I don't need to, but I could talk disparagingly about her. I don't know her.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a different narrative to take on. Or a third narrative might be, hey, we did our best along the way. We were dumb kids and we did our best to adult along the way and have children and do our best as parents. And it's just soup of all mashed up stuff. And we've come to where we are. And she's in pain, or she's, I don't know, trying to squeeze me for a little bit of money or something. And I can
Hmm.
get that, but I'm not playing the jab at my income game any longer.
Right. Okay.
It's a different narrative. Yeah.
Cool.
Good stuff, Julio. Appreciate it. Yeah. Keith asked in the chat, an example of emotional tension. Yeah. Emotional tension is, so a nice guy never wants to have emotional tension. A nice guy will always try to appease the other person or get to a resolution or see if I can dance, tap dance anymore, if she'll like me. A nice guy never wants to have emotional tension. So yes, saying something that you believe in, hopefully in a grounded way, she's going to feel some kind of way about it. And yeah, you're allowing that tension to be there. You're allowing her to feel whatever she's going to feel. And by the way, Julio and Stefan, side note that, and I'll come to you, Keith. Yeah, 1 second. Sorry, buddy. And so being able to say, hey, I'm not interested in your judgment of my income any longer, or being able to say, hey, I'd love to have you on a date over at my place. Let's have a glass of wine. Having the guts to be able to say those things is a part of a woman's attraction for you, is a part of the collage of her attraction for you, that you're a man that is willing to say something like that. Yeah, Keith, come on in, bud. And then we'll close out for tonight.
Hey, yeah, I was just wondering some more examples of emotional tension because, like, I feel like that's something I fell down on pretty much in the middle of my marriage.
Yeah, how so? How are you thinking about that when you say it?
I think that, like you just said, the words appease, and just towards the middle of my marriage, I was trying to appease her at every single inroad that we had. She would have problems with my kids when they were small, and she would call me at work. Or she would send me a picture. My 4-year-old kid, she'd be saying, "Yeah, he's hitting me today. he's being mean to me, and I'm like, he's 4. Why are you
Yeah.
calling me at work? I
Yeah.
mean, take care of it. And then I got to the point where I just caved, and I would come and try to rescue her. I'd come home, I'd tell my boss, I got to go home, got something going on. I would never tell him exactly what was going on. I'd come there and she would be like a mess. So I'd say, oh, it's all right. And she said, the kids don't love me. And my oldest at the time was probably 8 or something. And I would tell her, oh, they love you. And, just appeasing her at every turn,
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And it feels good to kind of our instinctual drive to be the knight in shining armor, because that helps the species, procreate or whatever, survive. But doesn't work so great in modern, especially long-term relationship. Yeah. And I wasn't aware of those things either, Keith, back in the day, right? That's why we do this work together.